Joining us right now is Israel's ambassador to the United Nations, Danon. Thank you so much for taking time.
Thank you for having me.
And you are leading a delegation of dozens of United Nations ambassadors here on this march today.
Indeed, and bringing ambassadors to Poland and Israel during a wartime, it wasn't easy.
Oh,
but the
yes.
ambassadors told me, thank you for bringing us. It's so powerful, so emotional to march with the survivors, to see in their eyes what happened here in Auschwitz. For them, it's a life-changing experience.
Were these countries that you consider basically friendly to Israel? What did it take to ask them and get them to come? Was it difficult? Was it a hard initiative?
Well, it wasn't easy for two reasons. First, to convince ambassadors to leave their post in New York for 8-9 days. It's a long period of time. And second, we are under attack. We are at wartime. Israel is being criticized day and night in the United Nations. And for them to come and to understand what's happening, it speaks volumes. I wish I could bring the entire UN to see what happened here in Auschwitz, to see the hate. It's the same hate that we faced 80 years ago, we are facing today in the halls of the UN. They call it in different names. But look at the leader of Iran. He called for the extermination of the state of Israel. So maybe you don't see the swastikas, but it's the same hatred like the Nazis.
Now, the United Nations, since October 7th of 2023, have passed the United Nations General Assembly, 3 resolutions that were calling for an end to the war and were seen as largely critical of Israel. Do you think that this exposes some sort of innate bias? Well, not backing Israel or going into depth about the atrocities committed by Hamas. Does this betray to you some sort of a institutional bias?
Absolutely. Since October 7th, we haven't seen one resolution condemning the atrocities of October 7th. One resolution condemning Hamas, not in the General Assembly or in the Security Council. That's shameful. That's shameful. And when they tell me
unimaginable.
Tell me about ending the war, I tell them we have 59 hostages today in Gaza. We will not end the war and forget about them. The war will end when we'll get the hostages back and Hamas will not be around.
I follow your activity very closely at the UN, and I really want to tell you, you're doing a fantastic job by keeping the awareness of the critical issues, particularly since October 7th. Do you have any cause for optimism that at the United Nations, we've been serving for some time now, that this situation there will ever change? Will it ever shift for the better?
Well, I'm optimistic by nature, and I believe in engagement. In order to convince so many ambassadors to come here, I made them one-on-one. I engage with them, I convince them. So I still have hope. I think the majority of the world, they don't know the facts. They are ignorant, and we have to educate them. You have those who are against us, but the majority are not involved. We have to engage with them.
Have you been here on the March of the Living previously?
Yes, but the first time for me coming here after October 7th, it's a different feeling. Because
Absolutely.
We always say never again, and we cannot compare the Holocaust to anything else. But what we have seen in Israel on October 7th, we realize that we still have to face evil. That's what we faced on October 7th. That's what happened here, evil. But today it's different. Today we have our own state, we have our own military,
Yes.
We are much stronger, and we are capable of defending ourselves.
Tell us a little bit about the ambassadors who did join your delegation. From what countries
Well, it's
have
a
they come?
big delegation, dozens of ambassadors from African countries, European ambassadors, Pacific Islands. Some of them are very friendly, some of them come to learn, and we appreciate that. I wish I could
Very
bring
much.
the entire UN to be with us today in the
Wish you
March of the
could.
Living.
What do you think the most profound impact someone has? You can learn about the Holocaust, you can be educated about the Holocaust, but yet being here is such a different feeling. And as you mentioned, particularly since October 7th, what's it like for you to be on these grounds knowing what happened here?
Well, you know me for years.
Yes.
I'm not silent. And I think
I
for
like
many,
that about you.
Thank you. For many of my colleagues, I think being here, they realize that they cannot be silent. If you see evil, speak up. If you see brutality, condemn it. And I think we will see them more active coming back at the UN and speaking on behalf of their countries.
I very much hope so. What is your reaction to when you've seen today and yesterday during this week, you've seen the survivors, the young survivors of October 7th, walking side by side, hugging Holocaust survivors? Can you imagine that there would ever be a young generation, like a sandwich generation for us, the older ones than us and the younger ones from us, who share such common experiences?
That was very emotional. I met Eli Sharabi, which I hosted him at the Security Council a few weeks ago.
Yes.
And seeing him here in Auschwitz marching with us You know, a few weeks ago, he was in captivity in the tunnels of
He
Hamas.
endured terrible conditions,
And
really
he lost
terrible.
his wife, his two daughters, his brother, and here he is standing, marching, representing the Jewish people. It shows our resilience, our strength, our commitment. And I think that is the best lesson. You know, our enemies think that we will give up, but we will never give up.
It is so powerful to be here, and I was talking about, oh, we have an ambassador joining us now. Come please join us. Tell us, you're a United Nations ambassador from where?
From Malawi.
You're from Malawi.
Yes.
And have you been to Auschwitz before?
No, this is the first time.
How is it affecting you?
Oh, I've been so shocked. I've been shivering, particularly today, having gone through the process of all what has been happening here. I can't believe. And my body is shivering, and I feel that human beings cannot do what happened here. And we cannot continue like this.
I like this message, and I share this. I have been here before, but it's just inconceivable to imagine such evil occurred here, although you do feel the spirit and you see the physical remains. In fact, I don't know if our audience realizes it or you do, but we're standing next to one of the collapsed crematoria right here. And on our other side is the other collapsed crematoria. To stand between these places where so many tens of thousands of people were murdered viciously, children, old people, how can you react to that?
You know, back home in Africa, you feel scared. You fear the tomb place. You fear the cemetery. That's the way I'm feeling now. That really I'm like in a cemetery. And where it's all bushes, and when it used to be very, very scary to be in the cemetery. But you know what? Being a representative at the UN, we all have a voice to make these inhuman actions end. And I've written a message which I've left on the railway line there to say that all world leaders, we need to make sure that this inhumanity does not happen again on this earth and our watch. And the most important thing to do is to prevent any conflict, first and foremost, because conflicts or plans of this nature are known much earlier, but we cannot allow to let them continue. So really pleading to all world leaders at the UN, everywhere, that we need to make sure that we are human in all our policies, in all our legal frameworks, in all what we do, but that we take care of human life. That's what I've learned here.
That's a very powerful statement. Thank you so much, Ambassador. I'd like to ask you yet another question about people who deny that the hatred toward Israel has anything to do with anti-Semitism. What's your reaction to that allegation?
Well, I tell them directly, it's legitimate to criticize Israel, but it's illegitimate to use double standards. Use the same standards that you criticize other countries. But when it comes to a nation that defends ourselves, you cannot condemn us for defending ourselves. And I think those double standards are unacceptable. We have no problem with criticism. We can challenge them. We can answer those questions. But we have a problem with the double standards.
What do you make of the worldwide surge of anti-Semitism we've seen all over, whether it's physical attacks, verbal attacks, vandalism, death threats?
Well, I think we can agree that it's on the rise, anti-Semitism, in Europe, in the US, everywhere. There's a huge gap between the declarations and the actions. You will hear leaders, including today here in the March of the Living, who will condemn anti-Semitism. The question, what is being done? How many indictments? How many people were convicted for acts of supporting anti-Semitism or violent attacks against Jews all around the world? You know, very small numbers. And I think that's what we should demand. We should demand from the leaders around the world not only to speak about never again and against hate. That's important, but not enough. Take actions. Implement the laws that you have in your countries.
A little while from now, you will be addressing this gathering. What message will you have for them?
Well, the message is very clear. When we say never again, we mean it. When we see the Iranians threatening our existence, we will not wait for them. We learned the lessons of history. Today we are strong, we have the capabilities, and we will not allow anyone to threaten us.
Do you have any other message for our worldwide audience who's watching us live right now?
But I know that many people wished to be with us today and to march with us. And I encourage them that one day to find the time to come here, to be in Auschwitz, to be here. I think it is very important. And I want to thank those millions who support us and pray for us. The people of Israel live. Am Israel Chai.
Am Israel Chai. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
very
being
much.
with us
Thank
today.
you. Thank you.
Pleasure. Be well.